Great. Okay, this is live streaming now. Perfect. Okay. Sorry, I'm charging my vehicle. So my
Oh wait,
camera.
no. Let's do I believe now that I'm remembering that. Wait, I can't remember.
Lyman.
Um did got 5:30 pen. Did you all request to be first? I don't remember, but I feel like you might have. Let me check.
Okay, this is live. What was the question, Commissioner?
I'm just trying to go back into my um I think Gallaudet can go first.
Okay.
I was just checking something.
Okay, so just to start the meeting off, this is ANC 5D's Committee of a Whole meeting. We meet once a month to talk about the next public meeting, any admin stuff that are loose and pending. In this meeting, for the public that is watching, we don't make any votes here. We don't make any decisions. We just collectively might make a move on the agenda, like, hey, let's put this on the agenda or let's save this for next month. But here, there's no votes that are taken and no decisions are officially made on behalf of the commission. This is just a working administrative meeting for us to get some stuff done proactively for any upcoming matters that we have to vote on. So if someone says, like, oh, they had their meeting, they voted, no, we didn't vote. We have some interviews today, so we can use the time wisely to prepare for the vote of hiring someone in November, but nothing of that nature. So just wanted to clarify that for the public. As we wait for Commissioner Cobb to join us, we will be discussing the 2025 budget as requested by the OANC every single year around this time. So, a majority of the folks, to my understanding, that are on the commission right now, or maybe half of us, are pretty much set in stone to be commissioners next year. So it's pretty much right now just a conversation and then a vote for next month when it comes to that budget. And when we reference the budget, we're talking about just how much we're allocating for certain things for the commission. So we're not spending any money per se, but we're just confirming the numbers that we expect to spend next year. With that being said, also in November, since it seems like we're going to be handling a fair amount of BZA matters and some resolutions to vote on and discuss, there will be no requested presentations for the public. If there is something in particular that the public wants to see from us, I would request them to reach out to their commissioner or myself, Commissioner Cecilia Guzman, at 5D05 at anc.dc.gov, just to add that to future meetings. But since we'll be pressed on time as our last meeting of the year and last meeting of this term, it's better that we just hold the time wisely for actual items that we need to vote and discuss on so we can move forward with any loose ends before we close the year out. Okay. So with that being said, we have the interview set for 7:40 with Mr. Jeremiah Montague and then 8 o'clock with our additional applicant. If you look at the original agenda that I pieced together for in that email earlier this month, we do have some November voting action items that I just want to briefly discuss with y'all so it's on your radar. The resolution on Trinidad Safe Passage, the resolution on litter cans and pet waste receptacles, a protest letter for Kovacs Liquor request a change of hours, and then correct me if I'm wrong, do we have two or three BZ matters to hear in November, Commissioner Arbuckle?
Let me check the email I sent.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Because I believe we have two. We had three, but we're only going to move forward with two for November.
Let me check the I get so many spam emails. Um
Okay. Well, while you confirm that, Commissioner Roblin, who's here for Gallaudet?
Um, I'm not sure who's here. Hector, do you know?
Hello?
I
Oh,
wasn't
I see some.
involved.
Mr. Hughes is here for Gallaudet's.
Okay, who
Um,
is not here? I guess people are just joining because they were given the link, but hold on, let me just open
Alex Ragonese and
place up.
Mazen are here for
Hi,
the
I'm
faculty
I'm Chris
presentation.
Hoffman. I'm here for Gallaudet University as well.
Okay. Where,
I heard from Steven. He can't join, but he said he'll discuss things over email with you. He has a prior commitment. And
do
he
we
said
have all the folks here for Gallaudet?
Uh, Commissioners, I'm Dennis Hughes with Holland and Knight. I'm Land Use Counsel for Gallaudet, and we're joined by Chris Hoffman, who's in the university's architect's office.
Yes, thank you. That's correct. Our university architect, Richard Doherty, was not able to make it right at 7. He might be able to join us later, but for now, I'm the representative of Gallaudet University.
Commissioner Arbuckle,
Hmm?
this is our first time before the committee, your committee of the whole, so I'm not really sure. Should we just give you a short presentation and summary of what we're proposing to do?
Yes, that would be
Okay,
Yes,
wonderful.
sir.
perfect. We'll take just a few minutes and um, we thank you all very much for your time. Um, I'll tee it up quickly and then turn it over to Chris. We are pursuing an amendment to the university's campus plan. The campus plan is valid until through December of 2027. The nature of this amendment is to allow the university to undertake what we think is a very exciting uh, reimagining of its Merrill Learning Center, which historically has been the university's library, and now it's being the above grade portions will be demolished, and the university's mall opened up. And I don't want to steal Chris's thunder because I'm just a lawyer, but so we'll show you the plans for that. But that is the sole purpose of this amendment. We gave notice to the neighbors within 200 feet of the campus back in early July, and we met with your zoning and development committee on September 19th, and obviously we're meeting with you this evening. We are planning to file our application with the zoning commission this week. And we would very much like to come back to the ANC, whether it be in November or December, uh, to seek your hopefully your recommendation of approval of the application. And with that, I will, unless you have any questions, I'll just turn it over to Chris. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that, Dennis. Second here. Change my view. We do have one other interpreter. May I ask the host to allow interpreter Jamie Yost in the meeting? We had 2 interpreters who were working tonight. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for that. And I'll go ahead and get started. Would you allow me to share my screen? And I can give you some visuals of our Merrill Learning Project presentation.
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
Okay. I really appreciate your patience while I navigate my computer here. Should be sharing now. There we are. All right. Thank you. Thank you again for your patience. Again, my name is Christopher Hoffman, and I am the Director of Campus Design and Planning at Gallaudet University. And I'm really excited to present to you the ANC, our proposal for the Merrill Learning Center, exactly what Dennis just mentioned. We are proposing an amendment to our campus plan so that we're able to bring a very exciting new project. That's what I'll present about this evening. Now, on our first slide, you'll see, and I can start with a little bit of context, that our campus plan was originally approved in 2012. And in that plan, we were going to just demolish the entire Merrill Learning Center, or the MLC for short, and open Gallaudet University's mall. So if you can follow my mouse here, it looks like a hand. Right now, it is right over top of the Merrill Learning Center, the MLC. And with that building removed, it does restore a really nice view to what we call our mall. If you have never been on campus, the MLC is right in the middle of campus. It's right in the heart of our campus. And around the MLC's perimeter are different academic buildings, administrative buildings. It's a very busy area, as you could imagine, being right in the center of our campus. Currently, I wanted to refresh your memory, if you have been on campus, what the Merrill Learning Center looks like right now and what campus looks like. So you're oriented, or to orient you, if you were standing here looking at campus this way, you'd be facing north. And the Merrill Learning Center has 3 floors. There are 2 floors below ground, and then what you see here above ground. It was built in 1981. And it is a very nice building, but our proposed amendment will not demolish the entire building as we had once thought, but we will keep everything below ground. Here's a bit of floor plan I can show you. The purple is what is on the underground level. The red and purple in the middle. Red is proposed to be demolished. And that's just about half of the first floor. And as you can see, the second floor will be fully demolished, and everything above grade. Okay, you can see a bit of the windows peeking out here that service the bottom level. That will be kept. And then again, we will remove the second and third floor above the ground. And I'll speak to why in just a moment. At the bottom of this slide, it shows a building section. So you can see that purple is where we're keeping the envelope of the building, and the red will be demolished. The main reason Gallaudet University, again, when we had our original campus master plan approved in 2012, we thought that we would demolish this entire building and renovate or rebuild something brand new. But in the value of sustainability, we took a closer look at the building. We felt that the envelope and the structural assessment told us that the envelope and the structure is really good. We have a very good video studio down in the basement. Our deaf archives is down in the basement, some nice classroom spaces. These are really well used and unique spaces. For example, our video studio is state of the art. And so if we were to demolish it, we just have to find another place for it on campus. So those are some reasons why we're keeping the basement level. We want to take off everything above ground, as I mentioned, so that it does restore the view to our mall and can highlight our sign language, which is just really the heart of our community. Here are the different criteria in which we will measure ourselves and our success of the MLC project. This is the center, as I mentioned, the heart of campus. It's a beautiful area. And there are certain programs that we don't want to lose their functionality. We want to invite people into the Merrill Learning Center and use this space. We will be having a deaf documentary center that is now housed in a different building. They're going to move to this new space in the Merrill Learning Center. It's a deaf documentary center, so it aligns very nicely, being housed right next to our archives, which will remain in the MLC. This slide shows our outdoor public spaces and how those outdoor public spaces can connect to the MLC. Those outdoor spaces are indicated by blue. And on the left are photographs of the outdoor spaces that are there for community members to use. And here you see again, the ML Learning Center becomes just a really central place that helps this area of the mall on campus become vibrant and exciting. Show you some existing tree cover. The trees are indicated by those green dots. Again, the mall is right in the middle, and there has been some concern about, if we don't have enough trees, and perhaps too much lighting, and, trees provide a natural shade. I know that Washington, D.C. has a goal of planting more trees and making sure that we really focus on greenery. This is a site plan for the MLC. And this is our plan to show the different landscaping and how we intend to create outdoor spaces around the MLC. Here's a 3D drawing of what I just showed you on the previous slide. In the original picture I showed you, the MLC is just a massive building right in the middle of our mall. We want to reduce that footprint of the building on the first floor, and the second floor again will be completely eliminated. And we think this reduction in footprint helps restore the connection between Hall Memorial Building, which is our main academic building to the north of campus, and it will connect it rather to the south of campus, where our historic part of campus is. Chapel Hall, College Hall. Right now, the Merrill Learning Center serves as a barrier to that view. So again, our main goal is to reduce the footprint of this building, to create a centralized location and a vibrant and exciting place for our community members to meet and greet and conduct in academic activities like research and classroom activities. There will be a cafe, so there will be some refreshments, food and drink for people to be able to have. And then again, down in the basement will be the Deaf Documentary Center and our archives, which is a wonderful way for the community to learn more about deaf culture and about the rich history of deaf people and deaf people living right here in Washington, D.C. This graphic shows is if you were standing in the front of the Merrill Learning Center and what you might experience as you're walking around once it's completed. We'll be adding some site furniture to encourage people to not only come to the Merrill Learning Center, but sit outside and congregate. If you have heard of deaf space principles, those are principles in space, how to design space and how to create space for deaf people to enjoy being a sighted community. But really, these principles have been proven to be universally beneficial to everyone. This slide shows the first floor. Purple is where you would enter. And then the back area is the orange. That's where the cafe, coffee, light seating, socializing would be happening. And it really, truly does create the heart of campus. Down here at the ground level, we had a large lecture room. It's right here. Again, I put the mouse hand right over it. The size is just perfect. Compared to other spaces on campus, there's really no space this large. And in this shape, this is just really beneficial for deaf people who are using a signed language. On the same level will be the archives and the video studio, and then some flexible spaces. So events could be hosted, guest lectures, And again, we want the community to be able to think and visualize themselves using the space as well, because we do want to collaborate with outside entities. Do you need a space, an event space? We want you to be able to come on campus and have an exchange, learn our space, learn about our culture, and we welcome you to do so. Then you would be able to have the space as well. As I mentioned, our goal is to create a visual connection. And by creating this void, which is not there now, but we'll be taking out a staircase, creating this void will allow people to stand on the upper levels and not only look south to campus and have a beautiful view of the historic district, Chapel Hall, and College Hall. And it really, we're hoping instills that sense of pride for Gallaudet students to look back and feel that history, where, you know, deaf folks have stood and been educated for the last 160 years, but also understand that they are now a part of that history. Now here's a cross-section view inside the building. You can see there are, again, flexible spaces for research, classrooms. I'll take you downstairs. As I mentioned, this is what we envision the cafe and coffee shop to be. If you're ever curious how a business might be run all in American Sign Language, it'll be much like the Starbucks on H Street, the signing Starbucks. If you've ever visited that, our goal is to have something very similar. Again, the ground level is very big, open. We envision different types of programming, using this for flexible types of spaces, a multi-purpose room, and open areas. So this is right now where our current staircase sits. It's a rather large double staircase that sits right in the middle of the building. We're going to remove that staircase because it is a visual barrier and move it to the side of the building. Removing that opens up a really nice view again south to the mall. And we intend to keep this curved external wall and again, allow this for different academic programs or guest lectures, presentations, collab spaces. And really, that's it. We want to inspire our community members, our students, and improve the functionality of that building. We want to reduce the square footage so that we make it more efficient and sustainable and restore that beautiful view of our campus from north all the way south to the historic district. We want to provide a space that provides a deaf cultural experience to our community members. It's right in the heart of campus. And so it's just a perfect spot for folks to learn more about deaf history and deaf culture. And that's all I wanted to talk to you about tonight, Dennis, or I'll stop sharing my screen and I'm happy to answer any questions or anything else you might have.
Thank you. The presentation was very well. This Commissioner Salvador, the chair for ANC 5D. The presentation was very well. Thank you so much for all the graphics. They were very, very well done. I will note that for our public meeting in November, sorry, I'm outside over here. For our public meeting in November, if there's a way to make sure that the presentation is a little more condensed, a little more not shorter, but just a little more feasible in the 15-minute time frame that we have for the presentation and questions. Just a small note about the presentation. But in terms of questions that we have tonight, just to clarify, what is Gallaudet University or this project requesting from the commission? And is there anything that we should be aware in terms of the project that will directly impact residents in the surrounding area?
Okay, and I'm going to stop sharing real quick before I answer or before we engage in that discussion. Just able to see the interpreter much better this way. Thank you. Go ahead. Dennis, did you want to take that? And then I'm happy to, if you need me, jump in.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner. The request, in order for Gallaudet to pursue this design, it represents a change to the approved campus plan because we're not demolishing it in its entirety. So technically, we need two things. Our application is technically two applications. The first is an amendment to the approved campus plan, And the second is what's called a further processing, where the zoning commission will will do a technical review of the design of this building. So we're asking for your commission to recommend approval to the zoning commission of of this campus plan amendment and further processing. And to your second question, this as Chris highlighted, this is really at the center of the university campus. So we're not anticipating any detrimental impacts to the community at all. It's a reduction in overall square footage, where the university is well under permitted square footage in any event. There's the planting of trees that is part of a component of this application. I think the only thing that, and Chris could answer much better than me, the short window of time when there is the construction activity, that will certainly be supervised, and every effort will be made to minimize impacts to the community in terms of truck traffic and so forth. But in the long term, there's no detrimental impact whatsoever. I don't think the community will even know that it's there unless they those that come onto campus. And I would take Chris up on his invitation for the ANC, if you meet again in person, to certainly use the space. You're welcome to do so. Thank you.
Thank you so much. No, thank you for clarifying that. I think when it comes to any kind of matters that involves large scale construction and redevelopment, it's always a concern for the commission in terms of how that affect traffic, how will that affect any water or electrical in the area. But since you clarified this is on central campus, unless you're walking onto campus, you might not even notice the project. So I appreciate that clarification. And those are my questions. This project seems very to the point, very an easy ask to discuss and vote on. Not saying that we know what the vote will be, but it doesn't seem like too complicated to conversate amongst us as commissioners to just make a decision. Were there any questions, Commissioner Rhodes?
Yes, I know the area, the picture where you had the tree, and then it seemed like there was some kind of tall table around a tree. Is that for shading? Is that for shade, like a creative way to add shade with the tree?
Sort of the crescent shaped covers. Those are the areas north of the building, Chris.
Right, exactly. Right now, it is just right in the middle of our campus in what we call our mall, and it is a structure to provide shade, because otherwise it's just straight grass and there's not a whole lot of shady areas. And so this is an opportunity for us to build a structure to provide that type of shade from the sun. So yes, it is part of the phases, if not the first one.
What is that called? Just curious.
We are calling it a shade structure.
I mean, is that the formal name for it?
I don't have the technical name.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Were there any other questions from other commissioners?
Did you say? Sorry?
Oh,
This is just
were
a
there
quick
any other
question.
questions?
I just have a quick question because I know we have something at 7:40. But did you say that there will be some public access to this space?
Right. We are in conversation about how exactly to do that, because we would like to create a space where we can invite people and the public to come and see the space, to come and understand deaf culture, deaf history. We will have a lot of, interesting things there. We're going to have a lot of, research and old documents. The school is 150 years old. So there's a lot of stories around why the school was even established in the first place. And it's a beautiful school. So we want this to be an opportunity to bring people into campus. Sometimes I understand people feel hesitant to come onto campus because maybe they don't know sign language. This is an opportunity for us to create a space where that blend can happen, and creating those relationships. And so we want to make sure that we have a lot of um, deaf leadership involved in this so that we make sure that we can create that blend and that it's enjoyable for you all.
Thank you. That sounds awesome.
Well, thank you all very much for your time. And if I heard the response correctly, we should anticipate joining your November public meeting and speaking very succinctly about the project. Is that I don't want to put words in
You hit the
anyone's
nail
mouth,
on the
but is that
head. So
right?
yep. Yes, Mr. Hughes. Yes.
Okay, then I'll stop talking. Thank you
You're
again very much.
entirely fine. We'll
Thank you
follow up.
all.
If you
Thank
have
you
any
all,
questions, feel free to let
the
us know.
committee. Thank you all very much for
Thank you,
listening. I
Mr.
appreciate
Hoffman.
it.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for the interpreters as well.
Yeah, yes, you're very welcome. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Adios. Okay, commissioners, it's just us right now. Still streaming on YouTube. We have Mr. Montague in the waiting room, and we also have some of our other participants for BZA matters. I'm gonna state the names, so Commissioner Arbuckle, if you can remind us who's who. I have Madeline Shea Williams, Meredith Moldenhauer, and Alex Rogonese and Mazen. Mazen, I don't know.
So those last three are all for the 530 Penn case.
Okay. And
The
then
first,
Madeline,
the first one, I don't know who they are.
does anyone recognize Madeline Shea Williams?
Oh, yeah, I have them. Madeline's also with Penn Street.
Okay, so these are all Penn Street, the ones outside of
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Montague. Got it,
Mm-hmm.
understood. Okay. Um, I'm gonna let Mr. Montague in to the meeting. Um, I've shared his resume, CV letter, his submission to you all from our last CO, not our last CO, I'm sorry. Earlier this month in the COW email thread that we had. So folks that can't attend tonight, they can rewatch this interview online or in terms of the commissioners, or just review again the submission that was given. Our second applicant also did submit their information to all our ANC emails. They were having issues, but they did get it to all of us. So I'm gonna let Mr. Montague in first. I'll let him introduce himself, and then after that, I'll take a lead on questions, but feel free to chime in and ask any that you might have on in real time. Don't wait for me to say anything. This is an interview, so we're all here to make sure that we're looking for the best resources for our community. Okay. Let me see if I get some lighting. Hello, Mr. Montague. Can you hear us?
I can very well. Good evening.
Thank you for joining us tonight. This is ANC 5D's COW meeting. It is October 22nd, 2024. And from our review, you applied to potentially be our historian that we've been seeking here in 5D. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Great. With us today is Commissioner Hector Arbuckle, Commissioner Sabrina Rhodes, and Commissioner Anna Roblin. And as you know, I'm the chair of ANC 5D. We'll give you the opportunity to just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, particularly you being a recognized historian in the city, and also your interest in this project.
Well, good evening, commissioners. Having been a former ANC commissioner myself, I'm delighted I'm a little bit out of breath because I just actually came from a meeting in Bladensburg, Maryland about the Bladensburg port. So it's history all the time. So my name is Jeremiah Montague Jr. I am regarded as the local historian in this part of the District of Columbia. I have an extensive writing on Woodridge and the subdivisions that made up Woodridge. I've given presentations to various community groups so that they have a better understanding of their um, community and their presence in the community. I have been actually a historian for quite a while. It's not what my original training was, but people tell me I've always been a historian. So I think this is an excellent opportunity to bring forth and make people aware of the various parts of the neighborhoods that make up your community and give some presence to things that people don't know, or correct some things that people think they know. So, what else would you like to know?
Thank you. Thank you for giving that introduction. So you talked a little bit about why our neighborhoods, why it's important to know the history of your community. Do you know any of our area of South Ward 5? You obviously know the neighborhoods that we're touching. It's Union Market, Gallaudet, Ivy City, Trinidad, Carver, Langston. Um, so can you, not asking for a formal presentation on this, but tell us what you know and what you think we can potentially work on as a commission through a historian.
Well, I believe that this exercise, this project would be similar to the project that I did for Woodridge. Okay. I'm very much aware of the different components, Ivy City, and as going back as far as 1910 and pre-1910, when it was called New City, um, of Gallaudet and Kendall Green, which it was originally called before the School for the Deaf and Dumb. Not my words. Well, that's what it was originally called. Union Market, when Union Market was really representative as a market. And when the trains brought fresh produce and items into the city, that was the major entry point along the Pennsylvania and the B&O railroads. West Virginia Avenue clearly predates the state of West Virginia, and it was originally called Railroad Avenue. So the original 1834 entry of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad into the District of Columbia through Washington County and into Washington City actually came through and formed one of the boundaries between Kendall Green and what is present-day Trinidad. On the other side, we have Carver Langston. Carver Langston is an anomaly in itself. It is a product of the workers' projects that were created by Roosevelt and originally designed for white folks, but white folks didn't want to live there. And the government struggled. It had this fantastic Art Deco project that it had done and set up all this nice, but people didn't want to live there. But it has gone through many iterations of good, bad, and indifferent, but it has landmarks within it. You know, the old laundry that used to be there still has the Jewish cornerstone on it. You know, and it's anchored by the Langston Golf Course, you know, which is one of the first Black all African American golf courses in the nation and continuously operating, although it's had its struggles. Okay, now Trinidad in itself is interesting, in that the original land ownership is confused. There it was a doctor who was from Edinburgh, and there is a connection that says that he, through an agent, a family relative, an uncle, was the original title holder before it went over to what's his name? Corcoran. And what people don't realize is that Corcoran not only owned the original farm where Trinidad was, he owned the land where Graceland, the Black cemetery, where Hack and Jamal sits. And see, many people don't even realize that that sits over top of what was once a gravesite. So these are the things that I think can be brought out and clarified and really enrich the community so that people take I don't say that people don't take pride, but they'll take a greater pride because and then they'll come with their own stories about, well, did you know about so and so? And I know Miss so and so, she lived on the corner on this, that, and the other. But a good bit of the history of Trinidad, Ivy City, Union Market are tied to the railroads itself. Okay. And the layouts of some of the streets are specifically tied to railroad operations back in early days, pre-Union Station. Okay. And on the other side, we call it, and I didn't even mention the Turnpike Road, okay? So Bladensburg Road was originally called Columbia Pike back in the early 1800s. It floundered and didn't do whatever, but in 1814, the Bladensburg Washington Turnpike became the nation's first toll road. And that runs right between in the middle of your community, okay? Where Delta Towers sits right now was actually owned by the Capital Traction Company back in the beginning, okay? And then there was the brick company that was there, as well as the baseball field. Nobody ever talks about the baseball field that was there, okay? Long, long gone. And so,
And just to add, Mr. Montague, even with what you just shared, those points are important to make because I think also when we're able to understand or and recognize that we used to have certain things in the neighborhood that we only think are imaginary today. Like no one in Trinidad, where for example, right now would think, oh, we should get a baseball field, just a whole separate baseball field. Right now we're fighting for, dog parks. Like, but we've had these spaces, large spaces before, but we just sometimes aren't aware of that occurred or not privy to resources that can give us that information. So with my next question, to stay on topic as an interview, my next question is, how do you use information and resources that are available in the city? And how have you seen, I guess, good and bad resources that are available in the city? Like, what tools do you use? Um, how do you work as a historian?
well, first, let me say, I grew up in an era where um, the phrase was question authority. So never take anything as on the surface. Always look for a deeper meaning, whether or not it's present or you'll find it. Okay. Um, the resources that we have actually being the nation's capital, we have an abundance of resources. We have the Library of Congress. We have the People's Archive in the part of the DC Public Library System. We have the National Archives, which holds certain records. We have various community groups where people have records that are sitting up there in their closets, in their attics, and this, that, and other, just crying to come out of those attics, okay? And be seen and be recorded and collected and made the experience whole. So there are not a great many bad resources, but they are resources that you need to use with caution. A lot of times, the storytelling and how the story is told overshadows the story that's being told. And you don't really want to get into that. In my past work, I'm really unapologetic about bringing up sensitive subjects, things that people don't want to talk about because they occurred, they happened, they're part of why things are the way that they are. If you don't know about them, you'll repeat them. But like I said, there are many free resources. Now, some of the resources, even though they are free, they're subject to controls by the body that or the group that holds them. So if you go to the People's Archive, you have to get an appointment to usually go in there to see certain things. They have an abundance of microfilm things that go back to the beginning. The archives, the National Archives, you actually have to go to College Park, and that is a secure, it requires special permissions in order to do certain things, but you have to do your research before you go there to look. Library of Congress, on the other hand, is a free reign. You just get a Library of Congress reader's card, and you can ask the right question, and the doors just open and stuff just rolls out. There's a little concern about the Internet Archive right now. It was contested about its ability to provide free resources, even though they give attribution to authors, they are not necessarily compensating them. And so there's a thing where no pay, no play. But the Internet Archive is not behind that. That are entities that in our day of fairness and equity.
So my next and final question for me, and I asked the other commissioners to ask questions, but my final question for me is, we know, and you know, as a former commissioner, that the funds that we get is from tax-paying citizens. So
Yes.
knowing that we hold that very seriously in terms of how we use our funds, how do you, in terms of your work, how do you take note of your time for a project like this that we understand is not going to be something done in a weekend? It's going to take a course of months to be able to compile the information that we're requesting, the digital repository that we want to make available to our constituents, to our residents of 5D. We want to make sure it's done correctly and done fairly, and also at the same time, funded properly. So how do you keep your work organized, and how do you note the time that you're putting in for this work?
Well, first of all, the work will be separated into its own little library. Okay. What I collect, now I have a good bit of information already collected. As I had mentioned to you in passing, the history was going to get written one way or the other. So that's a goal of mine. But having worked in government contracting for many, many years, and being a person who was responsible for the financial management and making sure that our contracts correctly reflected the level of effort that was being put in, and that there was it wasn't subject to cause undue scrutiny. So I know that there are people, not saying in your particular commission, but in various ANC commissions who suspect everyone. And for whatever reason, they believe everybody is subject to corruption and misappropriation of funds. Haven't been a treasurer for 3 out of 4 years. No, that's not happening, okay? So the work is segregated. Now, I will say this, and I don't think it's inappropriate. You may benefit from some freebies along the way, okay? Where if I'm working on a different subject and I happen to find something that collectively adds to the work that I'm doing for you, then the work gets donated to you, okay? So hours spent will be hours actual. I will also keep track of what I call ancillary hours, things that are necessary to be done, um, but they may skirt the scope of the project, but they make the project complete. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. I'll say just openly, we will be voting on this in November. I will be abstaining from the vote. I put forth the resolution to hire a historian, but being that we have worked in the past and have a great relationship, I want to make sure that fairly ANC 5D makes that decision without any of my any of my bias. So I'm just gonna abstain from that vote. But we will let you know if you if your name is literally on the agenda or not prior, so you're prepared. So you can also answer questions from the public. But I'll ask the commissioners with the last minutes we have. If you have a question for Mr. Montague, just let us know. Commissioner Rhodes.
Yes, I enjoy hearing you talk about the history of these communities, and you have a lot of information in your head about more than what we've been hearing out here in the streets. So I think that it will be an honor to have you represent 5D and doing the history, and you like it. You love what you do. You love the history. That's like your second skin. So we appreciate the knowledge, and hopefully you make the cut.
Well, thank you. The honor would be mine.
Commissioner Arbuckle.
Hello, Mr. Montague. Thank you so much for applying and joining us for an interview. I was curious. I know that it sounds like you're going to be doing a lot of in-depth research in like archives and such from like older times. Do you also plan to do any like use oral history or interviews with residents?
I expect that there will be interviews of current residents, residents that may have left if we can find them, because everybody has a story to tell. I don't know whether or not you all had anticipated recording oral histories, because that is a little bit complicated. As part of a records collection process, it's not as complicated. But records and retention and then permissions and this, that, and the other make it a sticky subject sometimes. But yeah, it's actually from whatever back then until we put the last pen to paper.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Commissioner Roblin, last question.
Hi, Mr. Montague. You sound like really amazing to do this. I have a question. Have we kept running into each other like last year? Because you looked really familiar, and I can't figure out if it's you or if it's someone else. But I think so, right? We ran into each other like 4 times or something like that. And the first time was at the Starbucks with meeting the Attorney General, and then yeah, I thought that was you. Okay. Yeah.
I am much to my neighbor's chagrin, I am everywhere. So you may see me, just like I said, just prior to this, I was at a meeting in Bladensburg, Maryland, and they were talking about a history project out there and how to raise the awareness of the Battle of Bladensburg from 1812 and 1814. And that indirectly affects Woodridge, where I live, and it also somewhat affects where you live, because the troop movements when they on their campaign to burn the Capitol. So all of these things, the dots always connect. But yeah, you and I bump into each other kind of regularly. I may say hey or wave, but and it's not being disrespectful, but sometimes I have a full slate and I am constantly running.
I hear you. Thank you.
No problem. Anything else?
No, Mr. Montague. I think that's it for us tonight. We appreciate your time. We appreciate answering our questions. Openly, we do have another applicant that will be interviewing tonight. But outside of that, whoever we do decide on holding that vote for, we will give them advance notice prior to the actual meeting. So other than that, again, thank you for applying for this position. We're really looking for someone that can give us that greater insight of the history of this land that we call home for ANC 5D. And we wish you the best of luck when it comes to being that person.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to participate.
Have a good night.
You do the same.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Commissioner Black, now I forget you on here. You don't got no questions, right? Just want to make sure because I'm just looking at the screen. Okay, so I'm gonna admit I don't see our next applicant in the waiting room, so I'm gonna admit the folks for the final BZA presentation for tonight, and then we'll end up with discussing those final voting action items in November, the agenda items,
Mhm.
and also hopefully interviewing our final applicant. Everything good, Commissioner Black now? Thumbs up. Good. Okay. I'll let the folks from is this from Cozen O'Connor? I hear the I'll let them get their mics and videos situated. Um,
Hello, everyone. This is Mazen here.
Hi, Mazen. How are
Um,
you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good, good, good. My name is Salvador. I'm the ANC 5D chair for moderating tonight's meeting right here. It's an administrative meeting, so we'd like to have a more laid back meeting prior to the actual public meeting where we vote on stuff. So this is the opportunity for you all just to give us a presentation, follow up from the zoning meeting, how folks felt there, and what you all will be asking of us in November.
Amazing. I'm part of the ownership group of 530, which is AI Pop-Up, and Meredith is here. I believe she's going to take it from here for an update on the zoning.
Yes, thank you so much. So I'm going to share my screen and just walk you through a brief presentation to kind of explain to you what's happening here. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so we are here. The BZA case is actually December 14th, and we're here for property and relief at 530 Penn Street Northeast for AI pop-up. As my client just described, you can see here the property. The property is located in the heart of Union Market on Penn Street. This is the property in the blue with the dot here. It is, as you can kind of maybe see, there's 3 different buildings that make up this one individual record lot. And the property abuts an RF1 zone, but for those in the neighborhood, you know that this is obviously not a single family residential use. This is the National Park Service's Brentwood Park area with solar farms and industrial equipment stored, and that they're not until after you get past Mount Olivet is where abutting residential properties are located. Here you can see the buildings. You can see that there are 3 different buildings. The brown brick building to your left that make up this individual lot. To the right of this is a restaurant that most people know. To the left, the building was originally an office building. The building, its tenant stopped coming to work during COVID and had never returned. The property is owned by Edens, and we may be joined tonight by a representative from Edens to speak in support of the project. A representative did come to the subcommittee and has been working with us and is very supportive of this use. To the left is the movie theater, and then to the left of that is a production facility. And then you have the new residential building that is also owned by Edens, abutting that, but farther away, obviously, from the proposed site. The proposal here is to ask for a special exception for a short-term lease for the property, which is a vacant office space, as I said, to be converted to an assembly use as an entertainment event space. The temporary change was originally submitted through a new program that the Department of Buildings had created, which was called pop-up permits. And that part of that requirement was that there was no structural expansion. And here, at this site, we had no structural expansion or structural work, but there was an extensive amount of internal decorative work, equipment, materials that were purchased in connection with this use. So a little bit of background here. We're here kind of in a unique situation where the applicant was very excited about this new DC program, which, as I said, is the DC Department of Buildings pop-up permit program. The city launched this. It was a brand new program launched in April 2024. It was intended to allow applicants to receive a temporary certificate of occupancy for use of a previously vacant office building or building for up to 1 year without having to go through the long permitting process, trying to address some of these long vacant spaces and get them activated very quickly. The process would only take a 15 days to have the Department of Buildings review and issue you a temporary C of O. And so our client was very excited. They availed themselves of this process, applied and obtained a certificate of occupancy for assembly use, art, and music activation at the site back in June. They jumped right in as a business. As I said, they spent over $1 million in getting the equipment that they needed, getting the space, furniture, designs, and they even hosted a few exciting events at the space in September. Unfortunately, after that, the Department of Buildings contacted them and reached out and indicated that they believed, and I'm going to jump back here, they originally believed that this red PUD that you can see that abuts the site, and there was a separate PUD that abuts the other site. They believe that the property was actually associated with one of those PUDs based on some confusion by the Department of Buildings. And because of that, they thought that the use was approved under those PUDs. They told our client that the use is not permitted by right in the zone. It's only permitted by special exception, and they had to go apply for this special exception use. And so that is why we are here today. The lot, as I said, is made up of 3 buildings. You can see the existing production use, the theater that is here, and then our property that my client is subleasing is only the space in the red area. And so that is the proposed lease space for the use, which is then, as you can see, far away from the residential building that's all the way over to the left. The existing site, you can see this is an existing kind of open cubicle layout in the property where the office furniture has been removed, which can then obviously be converted with no structural changes to an entertainment space. Again, another picture of the existing space before it was improved by our client. Here you can see with some new lighting, the space being utilized for an art and entertainment and assembly event space use. Here's some additional images from some of these events, as we said, that were conducted while they had received the original Department of Buildings certificate of occupancy. So we are here tonight asking for 2 areas of relief for the ANC to support. One, which is the special exception to permit a entertainment, assembly, and performance arts use in the PDR1 zone. We are asking for a variance from the subconditions. We meet all of the other subconditions, including noise, proofing, signage, other requirements. We don't meet, though, one of the conditions that says that the use shall not abut a residential zone. And as I said, even though so we were asking for that variance. We're asking that variance given that we do abut this RF1 zone, but we are very far away from any residential use. And we are also, two other buildings away from the abutting residential use next to us. And so we think that this is a great use of the site, a great use of a vacant office building that will activate the area and will provide additional services to individuals, after other potential uses in the area are no longer open. So happy to answer any questions for everybody. And we presented this to the zoning committee, answered questions for the zoning committee, and received, no specific concerns. I think just general support, but obviously those that were at the zoning committee can also weigh in on that. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Happy to answer questions.
If you guys don't mind, Alex from the Eden's team is still in the lobby as well. If you want to get him in.
Just a second.
Hi, Alex. I just finished my presentation of the PowerPoint. Sorry you were not invited. If you could just introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your support or kind of your position here, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having us. And I apologize if there's background noise. I'm in a restaurant lobby right now, but just wanted to join. My name is Alex Reganisi. I am a developer with Edens. We are the owner of the building, as you all know, and just wanted to express our support and our appreciation for you all considering this matter. For Edens, as I'm sure you guys have heard, we always start our focus with what we're doing at Union Market with our small area plan, which was developed in 2009. And that really sets the vision for what we're trying to do in the Union Market district. We think about all of the things that we do with that in mind and look at that as kind of our guiding principle of what we've been working on for the last 20 years. And when we first started working with AI, our tenant here at 530 Penn, we felt that was a perfect fit into the small area plan and what we're trying to encourage and develop, which is life, activity, activation, and of course, most importantly, community and bringing people together to have wonderful in-person experiences. The space, as I'm sure Meredith mentioned, was a former office space that's been vacant since the pandemic. And so it really reinvigorates us to see AI with their vision and their desire to breathe new life into it and bring members of our community together and really continue to build upon this momentum on Penn Street with this focus on entertainment between the recently opened F1 Arcade. And we're just really excited to see this move forward. And we know with the small area plan, this is really something that is encouraged. And so this is a step that we have to go through to get the formal approval to realize what's set out in that vision. But happy to be here to answer any questions and appreciate you all giving us the time this evening.
Appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Since the permit had not, been
Sorry, Commissioner, we can't hear you very well. You're breaking up.
Is the space still in use today?
The space is vacant today.
I got a question. So you're using a venue for entertainment? Like will you have bands and DJs and dance parties and all of that?
So, yeah, and Mazen can provide additional information, but it's an event space. So it would be anywhere from art exhibits to DJs to music venues. This is not a restaurant or a lounge that's opened, every day of the week or even every weekend. It's only open when there's an event. And so I think that provides, a limited amount of use, obviously, for when those events do occur. And those events then also, we believe individuals will be coming from either other establishments or other areas in Union Market and feeding into this venue. I do believe we also had another individual from Eden's waiting in the weight room under maybe a phone number that was called in. Alex, I don't know, I think it was Reynolds, Allen,
Yes.
but if you can identify his phone number and then if he can be admitted, that'd be great. I know that he'd emailed saying he was also here to speak, but if there are any other commissioners have any other questions, I'm happy to answer.
His
And
number
I
ends in
also have another
9963, I believe
question.
so.
I have another question. I wasn't finished with my question. Is there any residential, is there a residential apartments near this venue? And what are the hours when there are events? What are the hours?
The hours usually start from, it's usually any time when there's a late night party, it's usually anywhere between 8, 9 p.m. until 1 or 2. And as Meredith mentioned, it's not something that we're open on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. It's usually when there's a special event that's happening. And to go back to your first questions, we do host bands. We host dance parties, fashion shows, weddings, a lot of different events as well than like just touring DJs. But we sponsor a couple of like other not-for-profits as well that come and use the space as a dance facility for them during the week, which does not cause any kind of loud noise. We do respect that there's offices as well that are right next to us, so we don't have any disturbing sounds that go out. To add to that, guys, our group is the owner of Vera and Culture, which is a venue that's a 5-minute drive from 530. As you guys know, we're literally we're less than 1 block away from a residential building. And with all the events we've hosted there for the past year and a half, we've received 0 complaints about sound going out. We do really care about the sound, and us keeping the sound within the venue is even better than letting it kind of run outside into the open air.
So you're familiar with NAIF?
Correct. Nave is my partner. Unfortunately,
Okay.
he wasn't able to be with us on the line today. He's traveling, but he will definitely be on the next call.
Okay. Thank you.
And the one item I would like to add about the proximity was the one event that this group was able to do. We did not receive any complaints about the noise from the residential, so that was reassuring.
I have one more question. How about community events? Would you be open to having or allowing the venue be a venue for community events?
With a pleasure. With pleasure. We're willing to work with anyone in the community to make sure that everyone's able to take advantage of this space. The space is curated for the community in order for us to build a community around us. So anyone in the community that has an idea or wants to use the space, we are more than happy to host.
That's super cool. That's a plus.
Thank you. It'll be our pleasure. Maybe we'll have our next meeting there in the backyard, in the outdoor space.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And what are the costs for using the space? If you know yet, or does it vary from group to group and it depends on their ability to pay or?
So it definitely depends on the ability and the days that usually the venue is being operated. But for community use, we always work with whoever is coming. So for example, recently at Culture, there was the Howard Homecoming that we were working with. We worked with them, and we have a space up to 1,000 people, and they had 50, 60 people, and we still worked with them to make things happen. For the community, we're willing to do anything it takes. And then for special people or like special events that are happening where it's a for-profit and a touring DJ is coming on a weekend, it's a little bit of a different price.
I see. That's great. That's really great that you would do that for the community.
It's the least we can do.
Would you be open to having that in writing, though?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, I ask because we have these conversations with a lot of folks that put us in these kind of situations, but they never really stick to their word. So
No, for
this
sure.
this space looks like it would activate that area very, very well, would marry very well with what's already there. But we're also looking at the potential just to help out the folks that are already calling this place home, finding venues for any community events in the future.
For sure.
Yeah, commissioners, we'd be happy to propose some language there and send that over to you before the next meeting.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, I think all my questions were answered through Commissioner Rhodes. Thank you, Commissioner Rhodes, for asking all those great questions. Were there anything else left from the other commissioners?
My questions were also asked by Commissioner Rhodes.
Same here.
Okay, great. Well, we'll have you on the agenda
Same
for
here.
November and get that vote out and see how that looks. But we'll stay in touch and get ready for that meeting.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all for your time
Thank you
tonight.
so
Thank you.
much.
Okay. I
The
don't see anyone else in the waiting room right
party.
now.
There should be one other person.
They
For the
might have
for,
left. They might have left,
sorry,
Commissioner. They might
they
have
might have
left.
left.
They might have left the Zoom.
Let me check.
Was Lyman Place gonna present? I thought they were.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. They went
Okay.
in, but they said that there was nobody in the meeting.
Okay. Well, while we wait for that to get situated, hopefully, I'll just like to add, are there any other items that we'll be adding as voting action items for November outside of what I've presented? Including these BZA matters? Does anyone else have another resolution or proposal or anything they want to put on the agenda?
I
Asking because
may,
it's our last one.
I
I,
may or
I
may
don't
not.
have anything. My
Okay.
computer was acting funky, so I'm just today getting all my emails.
Oh,
So nobody has requested it as of today to be on the agenda. So
okay. Well, good luck going through those emails because you already know Commissioner Rollins sent like 1,000 and on top of your residence. That's already a lot.
those were the first ones I went.
Oh my God.
Hey, but that's how you know Commissioner Rollins out here working.
I'm Commissioner, I may have a resolution. Somebody is creating it and it's not sure if it's going to be done in time, but I'm guessing it might be. It's a resolution to treat rats as humanely and to use birth control.
What?
Yeah, to
Good,
treat
For
rats
what? For
humanely.
sterilized,
rats?
Yeah.
sterilized rats.
Nah.
Ah!
No,
Nah.
no, no, no,
No.
no, no, no,
No.
no, no.
Don't
Sorry.
even bring that mess over this way.
Humane.
Rats
Don't bring
are
it over,
not
but
human, and
No,
don't
they
no.
bring it
gotta
over
go.
here to neither. No,
No, no.
Well,
no.
We're not doing
it
no birth
depends.
control for the
Ah,
rats.
Like,
Come on now. We
yeah.
got
they,
humans that don't even have health coverage. You talking
yeah, but
about
it's
birth
not one
control
or
for
the other. We're all supporting each other. It's not, everyone's against each other.
no,
But
and everyone is not against each other, Anna, Commissioner. No, but we're not gonna do that. No, we're not gonna waste to a whole meeting talking about giving birth control to rats. That's no. No, people are trying to get rid of rats. Rats are
yeah,
dangerous. If you have children and pets, rats are very dangerous to children and pets. No.
no,
I'm
this is
sorry.
why we're giving birth control to them so they won't keep getting more of them, so it'll stop them. It's the method to abate rats, humanely abate them. And the thing is, what we're doing now is not working well, in case anyone hasn't noticed. So this, we're seeing if there's research as to it works better, actually, as well as rats are one of the most intelligent animals. You can look it up. They are one of the most intelligent animals, up there with like dolphins and I forget what other animals, but they're one of the 5 most
I
intelligent
mean,
ones.
I believe you. They don't pay rent out here, but they do a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's why
And
we're
I
trying to
mean, if
stop
you
them.
gotta,
this is to try to stop rats from getting more and more and more of them. It's not to do something nice to keep them here. No, it's to stop them from being here. I mean, it depends what's going to work. You know, what's going to work.
We can stop the rats for telling our neighbors to put their trash in the dumpsters instead of putting them on the sidewalk. I leave out my house between 4:30 and a quarter to 5. I'm walking down the street and the rats are walking beside me.
That's
So
why.
that's one way we can cut on it.
Yeah.
And on the news, DC, if it's the fifth rattiest, it's not a state, but it's the fifth rattiest city here in America, according to the news. But it's our fault. It's everybody's fault because you got people just don't want to put their trash in the dumpsters and stuff. They send their kids outside to empty the trash, and instead of them walking it to the dumpster, they put it on the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's the reason, but people are not changing. It's like we need to change something somewhere because what we're doing has not been working. People are not listening, and we should have a campaign to get people to do that. But like as it is right now, it's out of control, and we got to make some kind of changes
And
to
that's
fix
why
it.
the government has the rat
No, we're
program.
not
You
doing it.
call
We're not
you
doing it.
call them and they will come out.
You're not
They
doing it.
will they
They
will
come
come
out,
out.
but
Yeah,
then
they will
it's
come
not
out.
working in the long run. It's not
It's
helping. We got to keep
well, who's to
calling.
say this is going to work, Commissioner? Who's to say that giving rats birth control is going to work?
We're not sure, but the thing is, what we're doing now is not working. So we should try all different things until we find something that does work.
Where's the money going to come from?
I'm not sure, but I mean, the council would have to vote for it. So it's like about what the council does, you know.
Mm.
It's like,
No question. Do we have anyone in the waiting room?
good question.
Commissioner Salcedo Guzman? Is there anyone in the waiting room?
The other
Sorry, what was that?
historian, what happened to the other historian?
On the, I didn't know they're not in the waiting room either.
Okay then. Well, the Lyman project is pretty simple. So, and there was a miscommunication with that one. So, I think that maybe I know that
Can you
the
just,
person.
give us a brief overview of it? Just very brief.
Yeah, I can give a brief overview. So basically, this is a homeowner who they purchased a home in 1702 Lyman Street. And so this home had previously, before they bought it, the home had been extended a little bit extended by about 10 feet, with an it was like under the table illegal extension. And they didn't really realize this. But when they got the home, the extension is basically, it's like 10 feet. And then below it, there's like this kind of like patio space. And then there's their backyard. And so what they would like to do is they would like to basically fix up that, like the illegal extension, to make it like, structurally sound and stable. And then basically make it like a fully to the ground, so that it would be able to accommodate their growing family. And they want to like redig the foundations of the extension so that it like is more structurally sound. The physical change is negligible. I don't have pictures, but basically, if you imagine like a one of those, like, it's right now like kind of cantilevered, so it's like this, and then there's, oh, my hand's gone. It's kind of cantilevered, and so they just like put it into the very bottom. so it would look more like straight instead of being like protruding.
And they're asking that for us to.
Mhm.
I'm a little confused on the exact ask. Well, how are they asking it?
So basically, the application. Oh, you know what? I can share some things. Let me share my screen. Um, and, sure. All right. So, basically, can you see? So, basically, they want to like they want to expand the non-conforming rear addition to the lower level. So basically, I'm going to show you what it looks like. This is looking basically, call it photographs. So this is where it is. This is not the right exhibit. It's supposed to be color photographs. Here we go. So this is how it looks right now. And so what they want to do is here where there's like below the addition where there's that little indentation space,
They want to
they
include
want
that as well.
they want to enclose that, and they
Got it.
also want to like dig under it so that they can like make it more structurally sound.
But they're not going under like creating a basement.
No.
Okay, got it. Pretty self-explanatory.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Um, okay.
Do you have
Uh,
any questions that I might be able to answer?
no,
Mm.
I think what would work best in moving forward, what we should
Mm.
start doing is just having the actual written up document that we'll be voting on the
Mhm.
night of the meeting.
Ahead of
So
the committee of the whole meeting?
not tonight in terms of the public meeting to have on the
Oh, yeah,
agenda.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That way we get that back to those folks
Hmm.
quickly.
Yeah.
But okay. I don't see the second applicant online. Did you hear back from the Commissioner Arbuckle by any chance? Or
Nope.
is the response? Okay, I think what would work best, just so we use our time wisely, is for that applicant that we have a separate interview for them
Okay.
at a different time on their schedule.
Mm.
And I'll ask Commissioner Arbuckle to set one up based on your schedule, and I'll just join to get that done, and then we'll just make sure it's recorded for the commissioners to review.
That's good.
Okay. Um,
Can we all be invited to the interview? Because that's
Yes.
yeah,
something
yeah,
that
but I'm not
yeah.
gonna ask like 9 people for their availability. I just
Yeah.
for the sake of time because November 12th is approaching. Um, so other than that, I'm sorry. Other than that, I need some more input from Commissioner Blacknell, Commissioner Arbuckle, Commissioner Rhodes on potential sites for litter can placement or pet waste receptacle placement.
Hmm.
Um, I circulated, actually it's in a separate email. I circulated the resolution on a separate email. So if you want to respond like these are sites of where I want it, I'll just plug it into the resolution to the proposal. Uh,
I'm gonna have to talk to the property manager over here because the property manager at Langston, they already have the little trash cans
mhm,
that when your dog poops, you take it and guess put it in a little plastic bag and put it in the pet receptacle. But a couple of years ago, the ANC commissioners was going to purchase them
mhm,
and put them out in the area. The property manager here at William C. Smith at the time didn't wanna. So I would have to talk to our new property manager to see if, would they agree, to put them out since they ain't got to pay for them.
Yeah, the
So,
only issue that we're having a hold up with, in terms of me drafting this, is who's going to take care of the waste collection.
and yeah, and that's the
So, like, I
problem
know in
too.
areas like Ivy City, Union Market, there are clean teams that exist.
Mhm,
So, if we can come to an agreement with them to get them on their route, install maybe
mhm,
activate some litter cans or
mhm,
pet waste receptacles on their route, they can
mhm,
help with
mhm.
Collection. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I would love to know where though. So
Mhm,
I think that's a first point. So there's been a lot of residents that have given input and it's
mhm.
been updated, but we're missing some single member districts.
Yeah, so that's my only problem. They have it at Langston, but just like I
When you'll
said,
have time, if you respond
up
to that
here.
email by next week, I'd appreciate it.
Okay,
Because we have 2 weeks to send out the agenda still.
I'll ask again.
Thank you. Other than that, I just have a proposal for safe passage in Trinidad, which I don't think should be too complicated to support, and a protest letter for Kovacs that's changing their liquor store hours, just to get a push for them to negotiate with us to settle on getting some sort of cleaning assistance in their parking lot. It's just terrible. But it sounds like other than that, we just have these BZA matters. If anything else comes up for voting action items, please let me know. If there's any pressing need for a presentation, also for the November meeting, please let me know. I'll send out the email requesting items to be confirmed for the public agenda. And
I
then
have
we'll be
a
just be
question.
on the lookout for that second interview.
I have a question
All right.
about the litter cans. If they're in, because we have people cleaning up the business side of Ivy City, um, would that be part of what they will be required to pick up, and how will we address that?
Right,
And or if it's on a residential side, who will be responsible
right.
for cleaning the cans?
The
Like it,
ONC's responded to my inquiry about how this is taken care of, let alone if the purchase is legal. And their main thing is who's collecting, who's doing the service, and are we double dipping on something somehow? So I reached out to the folks that are in charge of the clean teams in 5D, but they haven't responded. I know Commissioner Rollins seen my attempts to get a hold of them. I think I even called one of them. But we would need to have an agreement done with them to be like, hey, we're placing this pet waste trash can right here, and it's on your route. Can you please just empty out the can and just replace the bag when you're just walking through your route? Like we have to have agreements with them. So to do something like that, we also have to make sure that we're using the proper language and not overstepping anything that a commission can do.
and what about the bags? Are they going to be refilling the little little baggy
Yeah,
thing?
the baggies. We would have to provide that as an ANC, I think. I know for example, the pet waste receptacles, they cost around $300 each.
Hmm.
It's the poop bag holder, and then it's the actual waste collection chute. They cost around $300. And technically, if every S&D got one, that would be like $2,700. And I think some additional funds will be needed just to have extra bags on hand
Hmm.
to give to anyone that's actually helping with this waste collection. But it's a whole new thing that obviously is needed because we got dog shit everywhere. I'm sorry,
We've
but
been
We
asking
sure
for them
do.
things for
I
years. Like
know.
Commissioner Blacknell said, we've been asking for them for years. And the mayor's office have those bags, so we wouldn't have to purchase those. We can
Okay.
get those from the mokers, like bags out for free.
Okay.
That's great.
Mhm.
Well, let's make it happen. Let's just get the.
Commission,
Go ahead.
Commissioner Salvador, can you send me like a little letter or something so I can carry it up there to my rent office?
Okay.
You
Okay.
know,
Yeah,
explaining everything to me.
I'll share the cover letter and I'm sorry, I'll share the proposal slash resolution and I'll put a cover letter on it so you can share that.
Yeah, I can carry it up there too then.
Okay.
And then the property manager can say whether she wants it or not.
Hmm.
On the property, and maybe she can suggest some spots or maybe one spot because just like you said, it's everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of us are getting real lazy about it. We need to get it together.
Mhm.
Need to get it together. But other than that, it's 8:43 p.m. It sounds like everything else will follow up in email. If anything is needed until then, feel free to let me know. For folks that are watching, thanks for watching till this. And y'all be safe this Halloween. There's a lot of stuff going on in 5D. Almost every neighborhood has an activation. Feel free to stop in Trinidad the day of Halloween. Ivy City also has a trunk or treat at Bethesda Baptist. And there's also a great big old event on 19th Street in Carver Langston the day of Halloween as well. I'll be there late at night after my event. But
And there's one at Joe Cole on
well,
the
that's the
30th.
day the 30th. I'm talking about Halloween itself. But yes, Joe Cole
Yeah.
got a trunk or treat on that Wednesday. They got a trick or treat,
Yeah.
and the Arboretum. For anyone that doesn't know, the Arboretum also has a big Halloween event. I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday as well. It's not on Halloween day because a lot of those folks are parents and they want to spend it with their children on Halloween. So
Mhm.
that volunteer and provide these great events. So either way, be safe out there and have fun and eat some good candy.
Is MPD having one?
They collaborate at the Arboretum one.
Okay.
And at the Joe Cole trunk or treat, they're always there.
Nice.
Candy, candy, candy.
Yes. Get your candy. Let me get mine.
Mhm.
Y'all have a good rest.
Yummy.